Good evening, my name's Taylor. I'm here with Blackfire Productions to do a terrain building log. Adam has asked that myself and Louis Belgum come online to actually help out with some videos and things of that sort, so I've decided that I'll start trying to do a terrain segment. So first off, I decided I had just gotten the Two Towers Journey book from a guy here in New Brunswick a little while ago, and I was flipping through it and found this Rohan building, so I decided that I would try and build this building for you guys and do a little video on it. So first off, we're going to start with the actual structure of the building. It lays you out all the things that you should be cutting out of thick card, so I decided to go with some cereal box card, and I will provide a PDF of the actual sizes of everything that I've used instead of just trying to describe them to you here in the video. So first I just cut out some squares of it, made sure that they were nice and square, drew some measurements, and then I cut them out. So this video is going to be kind of like one of those cooking videos where I've pre-made some stuff, but I'll show you each and every step that I've actually done. So here, just go through, cut it all. You can use an X-Acto knife, you can use scissors, you can use whatever you like to cut it out with. I've just got an X-Acto knife here, so I've decided to cut it out that way. Now this is just for one of the, we'll say the door section. So then I found the center of it, nice and easy. It's originally supposed to be made out of in millimeters, but I kind of did a hybrid of millimeters and centimeter and inches. So we'll just do it that way. So yeah, I've been building terrain on and off for about 5 years now. I have a big problem where I don't finish what I've started because I want it to be perfect, and I can never get that perfection. So I always have the biggest problem, and that's probably my biggest weakness right there. I think we've actually done good. Yeah, pretty well. Then we'll mark out the door. So he's 3 in on each side. And then again, we'll mark up 3 a little bit higher so we can actually grid it out. That's how I try and keep everything pretty straight, is I don't just go with one measurement from the sides. I try and do multiples so I can actually get a nice good parallel line running on each of them. Because that's the hardest thing when working with a ruler, is actually keeping everything nice and parallel. As you can see, this is not parallel because I actually missed my pencil mark there a little bit. So if I go in and throw in that line, now we're looking pretty good. Again, this is just a test piece. You're a little crooked too. Measure twice, cut once is what I always say, because you'll always, I mean it's what everybody says, but you'll always regret it if you make a mistake in cutting. And then you're 4 tall at the center. 4 tall at the center. And then we can trim you off there. Then on each side it was actually only 3 centimeters tall. So that gives us our little archway. You can freehand it, you can find a circle that's roughly the same size. I'm just going to freehand this one. Try and make my curve, because inevitably I'm not going to cut this curve on my lines anyway, because curves are notoriously hard to cut. So I've got that guy there. We can start cutting him out. I like to get rid of the bulk of material if I can, and then come in and refine the edge after the fact. Because I just find it's easier to do. That's not too bad. It's looking pretty well there. Then once you've got all your sides and that sort of thing cut out, we'll pretend this guy has his window and all that fun stuff in it. Then you actually have to create the walls. So you could use masking tape. I'm just using some white tape that I had lying around the house. You want to leave a little gap right in there, as you can see, so that when you fold the corner, just a little one, just almost the thickness. Not happy with that. Let's try this again. Almost the thickness of one of the pieces of material, because if you don't, when you try and bend this corner, they're both going to try and occupy the same space. So there's the start of your building, as you can see. Then, once you've got all four sides cut out and all your windows and doors cut out, and that sort of thing, then you start on actually skinning the material. So I used, I believe this is, let's see, 1.5 millimeter thick. I use basswood. I don't like balsa. I find it's too soft. You can carve too much into it and nicks and dings and that sort of thing, so it doesn't have much longevity into it. So this is actually going to be the back window. Whoop. This is actually going to be the back window that's back here, as you can see. And yeah, so cut them all out, obviously. Same concept of cutting out the thing, using a ruler, using all that. And then you've got to go in and cut out your windows. So again, straight edge. Try and keep your blade as vertical as possible. And then one thing that I do is I never overcut. So if I'm cutting down this line from here to here, and I'm cutting like this, I'll stop before I get to the end. So I'll stop around here, and then I'll come back and cut from the other side so that I get a nice crisp cut on the other line. So I'll show that to you right now. As we go through, cut it there, moving just a little bit off. Again, stopping before I get to that side so I can turn it around and I can come in here and actually finish off that cut. I'm using multiple cuts to try and get through my material. I'm not going one at a time. I'm not trying to cut right through it at once because that's how you get ugly cuts. Now we've almost got it all the way through. Oh look, it is all the way through on that side. So now we just need to finish it out on this side. And because it's got a little bit of grain to it, you can actually snap it. You can see I kind of messed up there. So we'll just square out that window so that it actually looks good. There we go. How's your uncle? Now the window's done. Now the next thing that you actually have to do is score it. It's how I got my plank look, which I'll show you in the next step. So what I decided to do was 4 millimeters for my planks. The book says 5. I just thought 5 looked a little large. This is a little tool that my mother actually had. I'm not really sure what it's for, but it's just got a little ball. It's almost like a metal pen because it's got a ball point tip on the end of it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I just count up. We'll only count up half because again, this is just a test piece. Oh no, this is my finished piece. This guy I'm actually using on my actual model, so forget about that. So count all the way up. And again from the same side, making sure that you actually start from the same side that you started on, because I don't have quite a full board here at the top, so I've got to make sure I count from the bottom. Probably fast forward through the 1, 2, 3, 4. Probably fast forward through this step, and then I'll show you where I got to after we're done. So now I've finished that piece. My camera shut off halfway through, so I had to get up there and move it around. So now we can actually glue this guy in place. So, here's my house as I have it so far. As you can see, I've already worked on it quite a bit. I've got different steps kind of on each side. This is the side that we're going to be working on. So inside of each of the doors and windows, I just put in behind, you can see it right here, or actually you can see it right here. I'm hoping that's in frame. I put little pieces of balsa wood with the stripes along again, just so that it looks like the one in the book, or if we look, we can't see into any of the windows or anything like that. So the next step is gluing. So for this I use super glue because I use the plastic tape on the sides. If I had gone with a masking tape or something that would actually absorb a wood glue, I probably would use a wood glue. But wood glue also warps, so I tend to not like using it a lot. But he just kind of fits in there into his new little home. I've got a lot of these little mini clamps that I got from a dollar store in Toronto at one point or another. So, what that was? No, we're good. So I like to use those just to hold everything together, ideally, without it all breaking. And then that way, while it's gluing, let me see if I can actually move this. Nope. That's okay. I've got a piece of trim covering that up. It's not liking this right now. Put more glue in. When in doubt, more glue. So I didn't quite place him right because of that little gap up there, but that's fine because as you can see here, it will get covered by another piece. That stuff is just cut up 5mm strips, which I can show you right now. So I just took my large piece of balsa wood, cut it up into 5mm strips, and then cut it to length, which I have a bunch pre-cut. These are some 3mm strips, just for using on underneath the windows and things like that. Yeah, so we're going to wait for that to dry. The other piece that I cut out was the roof. This guy is just one solid piece that I've folded in place, so he'll be used in a second. So that's, since I'm using super glue for speed, that guy's actually probably, are you dry? You're acting weird. So, just hold him together there for a second. There we go. So, now we're good to keep moving forward. I think. This should dry for a little bit. So I'll come back after this dries because it's acting a little funky. The other thing that you can notice, I'll mention right now, is I put in these 45s. They were actually the offcuts from the roof, as I've got more here, just to give it a little bit more structural support from left to right. Well, that's working on. Okay, I'm going to take this and I'm going to figure out where I'm going to lay these. So I'll take my next piece, which is going to go here, to hopefully cover up that joint eventually. And then I can see that I've got just over 10.5. So, little simple math. 5, I need to divide it by 3. So that will equal 3.5. 3, 6, right? 9. Yep. So every center of 3 is where my next ones are going to go. So we'll put 10.5 there. We'll go down 3.5. So 9.5, 8.5, 7.5, 7. And then another 3.5. And then another 3.5 should bring us, yeah. Did we get it right? Yep. Got it right. So now we'll take the correct length of pieces. And again, super glue them into place. Just 3 little dabs. Don't need much for super glue. And again, we'll clamp, because I clamp everything. Make sure that you get it nice and straight, because if you don't get it straight, it's going to bug you for the rest of your life. So there's that one. This guy's probably dry on the far side, so we'll take those off, check it. Yeah, we've just got a little excess super glue in there. We'll just wipe away so it will actually dry out. There we go. Here, let's clean off my workstation a little bit here. We'll add the next piece, which you are not too short. You're the correct length. And I'll just keep working away. As you can see, cutting, gluing, putting into place what I'm doing on all this. And then when we get to the next step, I'll bring you guys back. So now for the guys that I've put on this side, I've made them just a hair shorter than the other guys, just so that when I put the piece across the top, it kind of looks right. But one thing that I'm trying to make sure that I do is cover up any of my ugly corners, so that it actually looks like I did a nice good job in there. So that's there. Then we'll come over to this side. See, like this corner, I'm going to cover that up with this strip of wood. So I'm going to come right up to the flush edge of that guy, and then the front will go flush with that, and then it should make a pretty nice and neat corner, is the hope. I need a lot of glue on this one because I'm covering the gap. And this is going to be the hardest one that I've got all weekend, because it's trying to do something to a structural corner that doesn't want to be structural. Because I just misplaced my things earlier today. I was building this guy to get it ready for you, so we're trying to turn something that wasn't structural into being something that is structural. If we can do it right, she'll work perfectly. It's just getting her to work correctly. It doesn't seem to want to work with me, so I'm going to figure around with this some more, and then I'll get back to you guys. Because super glue is getting everywhere. There we go. Finally got her to stick. A little bit of wood glue dropped down inside as well, just to make sure. And yeah, Bob's your uncle. Now we've got the shorter piece here. Perfect. This one will be a lot easier to do. And now that ugly corner, well, as you saw me there in the last little bit, I'm still trying to decide what to do with this side. In the book, they don't show that side on this page. But when I get to this one, all three houses are different. Some of them have fancier front pieces here than that one does. Front pieces here than that one does. So I'm still undecided on what I'm going to do with that side. But basically, there's my finished house. I still need to do the roof and the roof sides, but that will be a part of another video.
Not too wordy. It's
and
they play.
I've still got to trim off some stuff.
We'll show you that
Sand
picture.
down some things to get the 45 angles here that I don't have
they
currently,
played a long game,
so that the roof can actually live there. Should probably actually stick back in there. But now the house has become fairly rigid. So now I'll add the roof, and that will be the final look. right there. So thank you very much for watching my first video. I hope it's not too much of a pain. And I'll be back to finish off my Rohan house. Thank you very much. And this is Taylor Sinstad signing off for Blackfire Productions.